Duane Forrester, spokesperson for Bing. Great guy, pretty well-known guy here in the SEO and search world. I'm Eric with Globe Runner SEO, and Duane, you gave a great talk tonight at DFW SEM. A lot of great information. Heard from both you and Google about Webmaster Tools, some of the innovations that you guys had come out. And but you know, a key interest of mine, something that we've been really spending a lot of time thinking about, is schema.org.
Yes.
So I'd love to dive into that. You mentioned that tonight. I'm really interested on how, as an SEO company, we can bring a greater value to our clients through this rich markup. So could you give us some insight?
Absolutely. So one of the things we covered tonight was there's a broad range of applications for schema.org. You know, locations, recipes, videos, images, people. The list is literally dozens of objects deep. The really important part about this is when you integrate this into your website, it helps us understand better the content and the objects you have. So when someone performs a search, it may not be the written word that brings your page back, it may actually be the video, because we know what the video is about, and we know that that's going to answer the searcher's question. So we will bring back that object, the video, and along with it comes the whole web page, the URL, and everything else. So it's really critical for businesses to start thinking about schema.org, because it's not something that in a lot of cases you can just flip a switch on. I mean, this is something that resides inside the code level of your page, so that's going to require some engineering resources to get in there, mark this up, maybe a user interface for editors to go in and actually write tags in, fill in the blanks, plus there's some training that has to happen, and so on. So these kinds of things take time for a business to invest in. So it's really important you start thinking about it now, because you might be at the beginning of an investment cycle where you need to pitch the idea, get it planned, and then for next year you're up and running. Just keep in mind, we want this value. So if your competitors are actually installing it, we're seeing it and using it. You're starting to see these pieces come up, and you've seen them on Google, you've seen them in Bing. If you go to recipe search, there's a lot of rich information coming through schema.org markup items. So fat content, portion size, calorie counts, all of these things make a big difference in these niche areas that we target. So it's very critical that businesses take a long, hard look at prioritizing and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we need to prioritize this one a little farther ahead. It's not as glamorous as some other things maybe, but it does pay dividends long term for us.
And we have a lot of clients that are in the e-commerce space. Obviously that's a space that needs SEO a lot more than others. E-commerce, I know there's different product markups that we've already used some. What are some of the signals from that that are probably most important that an e-commerce vendor would look at?
You know what, I'll be honest, there is a spread of those things, right? And it's not that there's any one that's most important, because that will vary a lot on product, on who you are, on how you rank today, on the volume of traffic you have. All of the rest of the signals come into play. So it's not like schema.org signals are on their own floating. They are a part of the mix, right? And people have heard me say this before. The Bing algorithm has roughly 1,000 components in it. So schema.org actually increases that number slightly. So when we're looking at these things, we're looking at schema to understand the actual nature of an object, but that's not necessarily going to suddenly boost the ranking because you put it in there. What it does is it helps us understand what the content is. From there, we can actually start surfacing it more frequently, and then user interaction tells us whether they value that more or less. So schema.org is a stepping stone that gets you to those greater places. It's not necessarily something that when you turn it on, you suddenly see a jump in rankings. And people shouldn't be thinking that, right? This is like another brick in the foundation of your home. Critical, if not glamorous.
A piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely.
Well, fantastic. Really appreciate your time. We won't keep you any longer. This has been Eric with Globe Runner SEO. Stay tuned here. We've got great interviews coming from DFW SEM. I really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eric.